Welcome back, everybody. I got Big Mike Raider back in the house. It's AG 400 over here, and we're here to talk about Thursday night football. We got the Lions -1.5 going into Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. The over/under set at 45.5. And Mike, how you feel about this game?
It's an interesting game because the Packers are at home, and historically the Lions, they're not so great at Lambeau Field. Now the Lions did win at beat the Packers, played spoiler against the Packers that last game of the season, and I think there's a lot of Packers on that team from last year's team looking for a little revenge factor for this game. Thursday night, it's a short week, not going to get the best crisp offense from both teams. The Packers defense is opportunistic, and on the flip side, the Lions offense gives up the ball a lot. So the game is going to be close. I guess that's why that's how you justify a -1.5. But Lions on the road, that's tough. I don't know if I would want to pick either side as far as that goes. But I do like the under for this game.
Yeah, I could definitely see the under being a hit. That's how the Thursday night games go. Like you said, a little sloppier on offense. They don't have as much time to prepare. Things like that are factors, obviously. But the problem with what you just said, though, just for a little pushback, is even if the Lions are turning the ball over, sometimes that leads to more points. That leads towards an over with the turnovers because you're giving the Packers a short field in some of those cases, possibly. And the other way around as well. I mean, Jordan Love has looked very efficient so far. Right. Problem is, if they can't get a run game going ever, that's not going to look like that for the rest of the season, right? And we're waiting on, the official news for the injury report. So there's not a lot of props out yet. So we're going to kind of, wiggle our way through that. But Aaron Jones is one of those guys. He's listed probable. He's probably going to play. I'm assuming they sat him out Sunday so that he could play in this divisional game on Thursday night here. I'm assuming that's why he didn't go Sunday. But the Lions, their rush defense has looked pretty good so far. Now, it could be fluky because they played the Chiefs week 1. They don't really like to run the ball. They played the Seahawks week 2. They have a really good running attack. They have Kenneth Walker, but they love to air it out as well. They got weapons on the outside, so they're not a run heavy team. Against the Falcons last week, though, they really shut Bijan Robinson down in that Falcons rushing attack. So now I want to see, what the Packers are able to do. The Packers haven't gotten anything going on the ground so far this season. Shout out to Jordan Love. He's been playing his ass off. He's been, doing well. And obviously they're 2-1 going into this game. But yeah, I mean, I could see it. I could see that changing just because of the fact that eventually defenses are going to just lock in on what Jordan Love is doing and what he's efficient at and find a way to stop that. But overall in this game, man, it's one of those games where looking into it with just like the casual look, you got to go Lions, right? You're just looking at the Lions because the Packers, they lost that lead to the Falcons 2 weeks ago. Barely beat the Saints. They were 17-0 into the fourth quarter. So I don't know if the Packers, I don't know if they're the Vikings or a really good football team because they lose a game in the fourth quarter the 1 week. The next week they win the game in the fourth quarter, and they had nothing going the 3 quarters before that. But then you look at the Lions, who just took care of business against that Falcons team, who we were all surprised they were looking really, really, really good until they ran into Detroit. So the casual side of me wants to go, oh, this is a Lions pick, But then you got to factor in the fact that we're going to Lambeau Field. This is Jordan Love's first game against the Lions, first divisional matchup here in Lambeau, where he gets to just be the guy. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure, right? I think the Bears game was away. The Bears game was away week 1. So this is his home opener against the divisional team. So he could come out firing. And Jared Goff, he's under 500 the last 5 years outside. He's very, very good when he's inside, sheltered. Yeah. But obviously he got the better end of the schedule this year because that would have been a lot worse if they were playing them in January in Green Bay like they did last year. Obviously the conditions aren't going to be as bad as what they can be later in the season. But yeah, so you want to get into some props then? I think I'm leaning Packers right now. I think I would go Packers to cover this 1.5, maybe even money line. But I don't know if I can make that an official pick, though. I don't know if I'm fully confident back.
I'm not confident on either side, and I think we should have let off with you saying, the casual go with the Lions, but not so fast.
Right.
That's kind of what we're saying here, right? Kind of be careful with this game. Kind of not just put all your money on the Lions right now for this game. But yeah, let's jump into the props. I think it's a battle of the rookie tight ends in this game. Like I said, it's not going to be a crisp Sunday type of offenses that you're going to see with a full preparation from both sides. And I do like Musgrave going over his yards for this game. I think it's like 35 and a half, and you can get some good value for that. Um, and then on the flip side, Sam Laporta, he's the second leading receiver for the Lions. That I think that's a good move too. So the battle of the rookie tight ends, and I think I'm ventriloquist action right now again, but the battle of the tight ends, it's to me, I think that's what we're going with. Look at those rookie tight ends to go over their yardage and even for their receptions. I know you're not really big on the receptions, but I think that and you'll talk about was it the Lions? They're giving up a lot
Yeah.
of
So
yards.
yeah, if you want me to jump in and just
Yeah.
back your points a couple of your points here. So Sam Laporta, I mean, he's the first tight end in NFL history to have 5 catches in their first 3 games in each of the first 3 games. So he's been a pivotal part of the Lions offense just to back that side of it. So it's definitely one of Jared Goff's favorite targets. And like you said, Thursday Night Football, a little bit sloppier offenses. You kind of want to rely on the big body tight ends, dump offs, short rhythm passes, things like that to get going. So I could definitely see that on that side. On the other side with the Packers, I mean, Musgrave, he's the 3rd leading receiver right now for the Packers, but it's not like he's had a dominant season. He's had 3 catches for 50 yards, 2 catches for 25 yards, and 6 catches for 49. So yeah, he can get on the board and he can get his yards and whatnot. It's definitely been happening, but especially in this matchup against Detroit so far this season. Detroit Lions. These are the tight ends numbers against the Lions so far this season. In Week 1, without Travis Kelce, the Chiefs had 2 tight ends put up 30-plus yards. They had Watson go for 2 for 45, Noah Gray for 3 for 31. And then in Week 2, they had Noah Fant go 4 catches for 56 yards, Parkinson 2 catches for 41 yards, and Will Dissly 3 catches for 35 yards. Then you got Week 3, Kyle Pitts, who's been non-existent for his pretty much whole career. I mean, we know he can get a long ball down the field and everything, but he had 5 catches for 41 yards, and Jonnu Smith tapped in 5 catches for 37 yards. So definitely a really good matchup for Luke Musgrave here. I definitely agree with that. I think that's one of the best bets on the board. Obviously, we're not going to lock in any of these player props just because we're waiting on more numbers. We don't even really have any rushing numbers right now, and a lot of the receiving numbers too because of this injury news we're waiting on. We're waiting on Christian Watson from the Packers, Aaron Jones. We're waiting on David Montgomery from the Lions. So we're not really we're not looking too closely into the props yet to lock anything in because we got to wait on these other numbers that we're going to look at. But Musgrave is one of my favorite ones on the board so far. I think that's going to end up being an official pick tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, I like it too. And one that I am looking at, and we don't really talk about the defensive side, right? We don't really we haven't done that so much this year. But Aiden Hutchinson is kind of on a tear right now. I like him for over a sack, and it's a plus 160. I think that's worth a shot for that one. It's over 0.75 for Aiden Hutchinson for 160 for a sack. So it's a good move for me. I like it. I like that one. We don't really touch defense too much, but I think this is a good game for him to kind of pin his ears back and get a sack. I mean, he's been on a tear so far this season. So Aiden Hutchinson for sure for 1 sack at least.
Yeah, I think that's a great pop to look at actually because, especially if they can't get this run game going and it just, once the Lions know that the Packers are just dropping back to pass, I mean, they could just send him, you know what I mean? And he can do his thing like he's been doing all season long. So, yeah, definitely trying to wait for you to catch up so I could ask you about your first touchdown here. So let me give you a second to catch up here and then we'll get into that real quick. Unless you had anything else you wanted to touch on before that, but.
I think another one, there's some fun props. I mean, I was looking at some like quick props on DraftKings. It's if they have like little pre-made parlays that you can kind of just dabble into. It's a plus 800. It's kind of a flyer, right? Lions money line over 23.5 points total for the Lions. And I don't know if David Montgomery is he playing because I'm not too. He's probable.
I'm assuming that he also sat out last week because they wanted to wait for the divisional matchup here. You know what I mean? I'm assuming that both teams kind of did that with both of their running backs. So I think they're going to play, but they're not listed officially as in yet. They're listed as probable as of right now. So that's why we're waiting on some of these props here. But
got you. So keep an eye out. But David Montgomery on this pre-made parlay, it's a 2 or more touchdowns, and altogether those 3 is a plus 800. David Montgomery's good in the red zone, short little handoff within the red zone, 2-3 yards. Not saying he's going to have a big game, but he could break out for like 2 good touchdowns. You know, and that's a good, interesting parlay to look at.
Yeah, those pre-made parlays scare me though, because I feel like they're putting that
Yeah.
tab there for a reason. You know what I mean? Like FanDuel just started something this year. They got the what is it? The same game parlay hub or something like that. I haven't even clicked on it yet. I don't even know what's inside there. I don't want to know. That thing is the ether right there. You know, I don't want to go there, man, because you know, they're putting it there for a reason. They're making bank on the parlays. That's how they make their coin right now, these apps. And so I don't want to touch anything that they made for me. You know what I mean? Because that's going to hit throughout the whole game, and you're going to be hyped. You're going to be like, oh, all this is hitting. This is looking good. And then the Packers are going to kick a field goal at the end to win the game. The Lions are going to lose. That's going to kill it or something like that. You know what I mean? I haven't had the best luck this season yet with the parlays either. I've been hitting a lot of the straights. But the parlays, I have not had luck with this season either. So it's not like I can make a better one. I'm not saying that. Right. But, you know, they're putting that in our faces for a reason. It's because they're making bank with everybody cashing in parlays and losing one of those legs, you know, on some bullshit. So,
yeah, parlays are
stay away from it.
Yeah, parlays in general is one of those things they just hook you in. Mm-hmm. And most of the time they take your money. So, you know, if you're just having a little bit of fun with it.
Yeah, no, it is a little fun one.
Yeah. So, you know, that's something to look at.
I would do it, you know, like I said, I do it myself. I put my own parlays in. I'm just saying the ones that they give us, I'm like, nope, I'm staying away from that. Yeah, and I'm sure they hit every once in a while because they got to hit in order to, you know, keep people coming back for those, right? So obviously you got to make some money with them at some points. It's like the odds boost. They're going to hit sometimes. It's just most of the time they're not. These books are sharp, man. That's why they're still in business. They would have been out of business long before I was alive, long before Mike was alive, if they weren't good at what they do. So, you know.
Right. Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely. So I guess we're looking at, you know, first touchdown. Like I said, I think this is a game between, you know, we're looking at, you know, the rookie tight ends kind of pop off in this game. I think, you know, you kind of have to go status quo on both ends. You could say Aaron Jones, you know, kind of getting in for the end zone first touchdown. You know, the running game has been struggling, but, you know, might make an emphasis to kind of get the run game going for sure. And then on the flip side, you got, you know, depending on who's going to play, David Montgomery or Jahmyr Gibbs, you know, kind of run the ball in, or a little swing pass from Jahmyr Gibbs to get in the end zone. And then, you know, we're talking about our tight ends, right? It's a plus 1,500 for Luke Musgrave, and to get in the end zone for first touchdown. And then Sam Laporta is a plus 1,100. So one of those two, it's good value. But I'm leaning more towards the running backs for this game to get their first touchdown.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. One other name I'm going to throw out there, I don't know necessarily for a first touchdown, but it might be worth taking a stab at it. I'll get you guys the odds in a second. But Jaden Reed, he's been another pivotal part of this Packers passing game. Jordan Love definitely loves him so far. For a touchdown in general, anytime touchdown, you're looking at plus 350. You're getting good value there with that. I think he's got 2 on the season already so far. But for first touchdown, let me find him real quick because I think there might be some good value there too. If he's listed, plus 1,900 on that. And they've been going to him in the red zone. He's been one of Jordan Love's favorite targets, like I said. So I think that might be worth the stab too at plus 1,900. Definitely a stab for an anytime touchdown as well.
Yeah, it's a plus 400 on DraftKings for anytime touchdown.
There you go, even better.
Yeah, plus 2,500 for first touchdown for Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
So that's good value. That's great value.
I gotta get back reinstated on DraftKings for that one, man.
Yeah,
that's a big leap in the value.
Yeah, there. Put a little on it. Nice little flyer. See what happens. But you know, anytime touchdown. Jahmyr Gibbs, I think plus 120 is a good value for that one.
He's got to find the end zone eventually, man.
Yeah,
right?
I think he's got to get in the end zone at some point. Sam Laporta seems to be the guy that they're looking for. That Goff, he found a new target in him. It's a plus 200. That's a good value right there. And then Luke Musgrave looking for his first touchdown in his career, plus 285 is pretty solid as well.
Yeah, no, I think the tight ends have a big game. One thing I forgot to even say when I was talking about the tight ends, though, the reason that we're looking at Musgrave so heavily is because the the Lions, man, they have been getting torched by tight ends all season. I gave you those numbers with everybody's individual numbers, but overall on the season, they're averaging 88 yards receiving allowed to tight ends so far this season. Now, that's not just one tight end going off for 88 yards. So it's not like we're telling you to take Musgrave to get 80 yards tomorrow, right? That's not what we're saying. However, he could, because he's really the only tight end that gets involved in the passing game so far, at least for the Packers. I think the other tight end that has a touch on the board this season has 2 catches for 5 yards. So, you're really only looking at Musgrave as far as the tight ends go for the Packers so far. They've got those, what's his name? I can't think of his name. Dobbs, Romeo Doubs or Dobbs or whatever. He's like a bigger bodied wide receiver there on the outside. So he wears 87 too. Like he can pass as a tight end, but he's not the tight end there. They got Musgrave. He's really the only go-to tight end. So if the Lions are going to continue to get torched by tight ends, it should be the Musgrave show tomorrow. Again, the only thing that worries about me about the Packers here is getting that run game going for Jordan Love. If they are able to get that run game going against this Lions defense, I love the Packers in this spot. I think Jordan Love will be able to manage it in that case. And like I said, I feel like the public and the perception is just go Lions, Lions, Lions. And this opened at -2 at -2.5. It's down to -1.5 now. Pretty much pick them. I think it's worth a shot on Packers money line at home on Lambeau. They're 2-1. Both teams here are playing for number 1 in the division after the first quarter of the season. So this is a huge game, huge matchup here.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge matchup. This is a big game. This is basically for first place. That the Vikings they're not playing well right now. The Bears aren't playing right now. And this seems to be like, an early big game matchup for first place. So
exactly,
it's a lot on the line early for sure.
And that's why I think those guys all sat last week. And I'm pretty sure they're all going to play this week. I guess the books are just waiting to make sure before they drop any of these lines. But yeah, tomorrow I'll come back with, some more official picks and, some more thoughts. It's hard when there's not a lot of props out here on a Wednesday, usually for the Thursday night game, we have all the props by now. It's just that we're waiting on all those key injury news. So we'll see what happens. Anything else you got on this game, Mike?
That's about it, man. I've been, super laggy all show. So my apologies for that one.
Listen,
might be on my end.
The views might be the view might be laggy, but as long as the takes are hitting, that's all that really matters, right? A lot of people, they just got YouTube on in the background anyway. They're not looking at us. They're listening to us. They're here for the picks. So as long as the picks come through and all that, we should be good on that end. No worries at all.
Yep, definitely.
And real quick, I don't know if it's gonna show up, but you got to show off the Men of Order real quick. We got Mike rocking the Men of Order now.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
There you go.
Let's see, now we got to wait a second for it to catch up.
Laggy.
I know laggy. It's coming. Just wait, guys. You're going to see it in a sec here.
Men of Order, man. Hey, I have to represent, man. Thanks again, bro. It's you guys are doing great work over there, man. I back 100% what you guys do over there. And, man, keep up the great work for sure.
I appreciate that. Right back at you. Definitely big shout outs to you. We had to get you a shirt. You've been holding it down for us. So let's keep talking until we get the shirt on the screen there.
Right.
I don't know how far behind we are now. We might be
like so behind, but it's all right, man.
Well, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I think eventually that shirt is gonna pop up.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point.
We love what you're doing over with Raider Nation too at PlanetRaiders.com and Big Mike Raider on YouTube. So talk about that real quick while we're waiting on the shirt to pop up and give yourself a shout out your YouTube and all that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, go ahead and check out Big Mike Raider on YouTube. We do film breakdowns. We do weekly matchup breakdowns. PlanetRaiders.com. I do a what to expect article every week. And whatever is going hot, the news that is hot with the Raiders, surrounding the Raiders. And even if you're not a Raiders fan, go ahead and check it out. Talk a little trash respectfully, and come in and show some support, man. The more the better, the more the merrier. I do appreciate the support so far. Things have been kind of flying. My channel's been flying. It's thanks to a lot of the people that's been coming in and supporting, man, and I do appreciate it. And you know what? Our shirt still didn't pop up, but if you do check it out, at the very bottom, you can kind of see the logo.
Yep.
There we go.
Oh, there it is. Let's go. All right, we can stop bullshitting now.
There you go.
Hey.
Yeah, there it is. Check it out. Men of Order. Yes,
All
sir.
right, yeah, I guess we'll end it there. That was a nice little finale for the people there. So yeah, I guess I mean right now I'm looking at the Packers to win this game overall. I do love the under. Me and Mike are on the under, so that'll be an official play tomorrow. Musgrave and Laporta, we're looking at big time. We're looking at the running games to get going for both teams. But we just don't have the props for that yet, so I can't give you a number. But follow us on Twitter at Men of Order Sports. It's MOO_sports on Twitter, and I will give out the official picks. I'll post them here too, and if time permits, I'll do a little short video and give out the picks. But we definitely like the under. We're both on the under and the tight ends. And then we want to play the running backs. We just don't have any props yet or any numbers, so we're waiting on those to come out. And once they drop, we'll get to that as well.
Yep. That's about
All
it.
right,
Man.
but best of luck betting, everybody, and we'll be back for some more games this weekend. Peace.
Peace.